worst floods to hit the Pacific Northwest in man's memory swept across 5 states, caused $1 billion worth of property damage, and made tens of thousands homeless. In Portland and other cities and towns in Oregon, Idaho, Washington, Nevada, and Northern California, it was the same. A sweeping panorama of destruction. An indomitable spirit is the secret ingredient that will help the Pacific Northwest rebuild on the ruins of disaster. In catastrophe, courage. In the future, optimism.
It was so amazing to see it not be a fall, but just be a flood, just a total level. Houses surrounded by water, people who've had to evacuate because of the water, outbuildings, everything being toppled over, of boats rowing down the street. But looking across the river from the Oregon City side, and then looking at the windows, second-story windows being covered with water, it was amazing. And you really, it's something that you say, wow, is this really happening? And of course it was. A lot of people lost a lot. They lost a lot of hope there. And I know that during that period of time, there were some that maybe did not fully recover, but people have a lot of heart and a lot of courage. A lot of people helped. Before it happens, everything is so normal. And then afterwards, it just is a mess. And you wonder if it can ever be pretty again.
The river's beautiful, but it's vicious. We put the foundation up to what they figured would be a 100-year high, and we figured 100 years we wouldn't be there. Well, the next year we flooded. So. Well, what happened is the Faraday Dam broke, and the Red Cross contacted us immediately and said, grab one change of clothing and get out. We called our church and said, we can't flood again, pray for us, and we went to bed, and I could hear it lapping at the door. The road went out first, so our neighbor came in a rowboat and rescued us, and I had 3 little children, and here I am in this raging river with trees going by and logs going by and pieces of houses going by, and I thought, which one would I grab if the boat should capsize? A lot of our stuff was hanging from brush, hanging on the telephone poles. Everything, even our freezer floated out of our garage, took our garage door, took our freezer. Everything just floated on down the river.
The upper Clackamas has flooded worse since 1964. The upper Willamette has flooded worse since '64. But never had we had the entire Columbian drain basin backed up to the point that at the crest, there was no flow at the Oregon City Shopping Center. The water was stagnant. Because the Columbia was so high, there was no place for the Willamette and the Clackamas to go. Even today, as I drive through there, I can't envision those rivers ever getting that high. But looking back on it, we can see the chain of events. What year was it? 96? We had similar conditions. Cold freeze, heavy snow, fast melt. 34.5 inches of water on the floor of the Oregon City Shopping Center. Now, when I mention that, a lot of people say, oh, 3 feet. I'd like to emphasize there's a huge difference between 34.5 inches and 3 feet. Because before we left on December 24th, we piled everything we could up on shelves 3 feet and higher. Had it gone up another 1.5 inches, it would have been tens of thousands of dollars in difference. We got out a lot of cameras, but particularly we got out film, flash bulbs we knew people would want. And we got all of that into our house on 906 Jefferson to keep that safe and dry. Wish we'd had internet at the time, but we phoned people, we put out ads that we were in business out of our living room. And that is really what saved us.
All the new buildings that they have down there along the river, it's like they don't remember the storms that wiped out West Lynn back in the olden days, or how tumultuous that river has been. And even the dams can't control all of that. We just watched as our neighbors moved out. And then, surprisingly enough, after the flood, we watched those houses sell and people moved back in, which is, I didn't understand that, I still don't, but my only comment is that I'll never buy a house by the river. I used to think how nice it would be to be able to look out, but that cured me.